Hi, hello is another story in Franny Tots TV. Today is another beautiful day here in our town. The sun is shining high up in the sky. The birds are singing sweet songs on the trees and a nice warm breeze is blowing. I was at home playing with my teddy bear when my mom came inside. Isabella, she said, why don't you go outside today? It's such a beautiful day. But I don't know what to do outside, I said. Oh, why don't you go down to the beach? Your dad and your brother are already there. They want to play in the sand and swim in the sea, Mom suggested. That sounds fun, I said. I'll go ask my brother for my bucket and spade, then we can build a sand castle together. After I got my bucket and spade, I went outside and down to the beach. My dad and my brother were already building a sand castle. They were so concentrated they hadn't seen me come. Surprised, I shouted. Can I help you? I asked. Yes, of course, Dad said. You can make the walls of the castle. So I started to make the walls of the castle. My brother made the towers and Dad made the moat. Then Isabella, it was time for a break. We had been playing in the sand for a long time now. Can we go in the water now? I asked. Of course, Dad said. I'll get your flotation device. So Dad got my red rubber ring and I put it on. Then I waded into the shallow water. The water was so refreshing and cool. I splashed around happily. My brother and Dad were playing football with some other children, but they didn't notice I wasn't with them. I didn't mind though. I liked being on my own. I could splash and play by myself. As I walked along the shore, I saw lots of crabs scurrying sideways over the sand. Some were big and some were small, but all of them had hard shells protecting their soft bodies. Don't worry, little crabs, I said. I won't hurt you. A little crab waved one of its claws at me. It looked like it was saying goodbye. So I waved back and then it scuttled off. I sat down on a rock to watch the crabs. I loved watching them scurry sideways. It was funny. After a while, I saw something strange in the water. It was about the size of a bike. But it wasn't a bike. It was a dolphin. The dolphin swam closer to the shore. It must have seen me because it changed direction and swam straight towards me. It must have seen the smile on my face because it smiled too. It opened its mouth wide to show me its teeth. Then it turned around and swam in a circle. I clapped my hands. That's amazing, I said. I stood up and started to dance. The dolphin stopped swimming and watched me dancing. It seemed very friendly. The dolphin swam closer and closer until it was right in front of me. Then it did something very surprising. It raised its tail high up in the air and balanced on its nose. It took a deep breath and then blew a stream of water out of its nose. It was like a fountain. But then the dolphin did something even more amazing. It bowed its head and dipped its nose into the water. Then it lifted its head up again and water came shooting out of its mouth. This went on for a few seconds. Then the dolphin stopped and looked at me. I think it wanted me to touch it. So I reached out my hand and stroked its nose. It felt smooth and soft, just like a baby's bottom. The dolphin was friendly and wanted to play. It nudged me with its nose and I fell backwards into the water. Splash! The dolphin laughed and did a somersault. I climbed out of the water and the dolphin swam closer. It nudged me again and this time I climbed onto its back. Wow! I said, this is great. The dolphin dived into the water and swam under the surface. When it came up again, it was smiling. Do it again, I shouted, and the dolphin dived back down into the water again. When it came up, I noticed a small fish in its mouth. The dolphin opened its mouth wider and the fish swam out. Then the dolphin swam away from me and dropped the fish at my feet. "Is this a gift?" I asked. The dolphin nodded its head. "That's so kind," I said. Then the dolphin swam away quickly into the sea. I picked the fish up and threw it back into the sea. "Thank you for the present," I shouted. To my surprise, the dolphin swam back to shore. It must have heard me because it nodded its head again. Then it took off on another somersault. Before I knew it, the dolphin was back with two of its friends. All three dolphins bowed their heads and dipped their noses into the water. Then they shot streams of water into the air. They kept doing this over and over again. It was like a magic trick. Then one of the dolphins nudged me with its nose. I fell backwards into the water again. Splash! The three dolphins laughed and did a somersault around me. Two of the dolphins swam close to each other and rubbed their noses. Then one of them nudged me with its nose again. It was inviting me to join them for a swim. So I took off my shoes and socks, rolled up my jeans and tied them with a knot. Then I jumped into the water. The water was cool and refreshing. I joined the dolphins and we swam further out to sea. The dolphins swam fast and I tried to keep up with them, but they were too quick. I had to rest. The dolphins must have known I was tired because they slowed down. They swam side by side with me as we floated on the surface. It was great. I stroked one of the dolphins and it felt silky smooth. We swam on like this for a while until suddenly one of the dolphins took off in a different direction. It must have seen us because it swam back to where my dad and my brother were on the shore. It clicked its teeth together loudly. Then it disappeared underneath the waves. My dad and my brother ran down to the water to see if I was all right. "Isabella," Dad said, "are you okay? One of the dolphins is trying to talk to you." "But how?" I asked. One of the dolphins swam up close to me and opened its mouth wide. It looked like it was saying hello. Then it took off on another somersault. It seemed to be showing me the way. So I took my dad and my brother's hands and we all walked towards the water. The dolphins must have seen us coming because it swam further out to sea. I let go of dad and my brother's hands. Then I dived into the water. Underneath the surface, it was dark, but I could hear the dolphins making clicking noises. They were guiding me to where they were. Then I saw them. The three dolphins were swimming in a circle. They were like a merry-go-round. I joined them and we swam around and around. It was great fun. I was so happy. The dolphins swam back to the shore. I could see my dad and my brother waving from the beach. One of the dolphins rubbed against my leg and it looked like it was saying goodbye. Then all three dolphins took off into the sea and disappeared. I waved until I couldn't see them anymore. I climbed out of the water and dried myself with a towel. "Did you see that?" I said to my dad. "You won't believe what I did today." Dad listened patiently. "So you made friends with a dolphin," he said. "Yes. We swam around and around in the sea together." Dad smiled. "That sounds wonderful," he said. "Mom came over and gave me a big hug." "It sounds like you had an amazing day at the beach today," she said. "Yes. It was one of the best days ever," I replied. Then we all drove home. I went to bed that night knowing I would never forget my new dolphin friends. Their smiles and their happy faces would always stay with me. Thanks and see you in another story on Franny Tots TV.